Gaurav Nankani Prabhu, you can ask your question.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam. Prabhuji, I have heard about Vajpayee Yagya. So, what is it, Prabhuji, Vajpayee Yagya, and what is the benefit? Is it related to spiritual benefit or a material benefit, Prabhuji?
Okay. Sorry, I don't have the stand today. Vajpayee Yagya is actually one of the many yagyas in the Vedas, and this actually mentioned that even what is the name? Daksha Prajapati, he performed that Vajpayee Yagya. So it is to be performed by someone like who's very powerful or the leader of the universe. Just like here in this world, we have Ashwamedha Yagya. Only the leader of the whole world can actually perform the Yagya. So similarly, a person who has acquired the position of the leader, can actually perform the Vajpayee Yagya. So Daksha Prajapati had acquired that position by the blessings of Brahma, and therefore he performed that Vajpayee Yagya.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Sukesh Mataji, you can ask your question.
Prabhuji, is what is the benefit of this? Like Ashwamedh Yagya is being performed by Sri Ram. So, what was the reason to?
Generally, the Yagya, like Ashwamedha or Vajpayee Yagya, that's performed mainly to satisfy Lord Vishnu. Because by satisfaction of Lord Vishnu, one receives, the immense power and influence in this world. Like, even Yudhishthira Maharaj performed Ashwamedha Yagya. But of course, Yudhishthira Maharaj did not perform to acquire immense power and glory. He simply performed that Yagya so that he can worship in that Yagya the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. Generally, people perform the Yagya with the intention to get glory, name, fame, and also immense piety and powerful position in the world. So because when a person performs Ashwamedha Yagya, becomes entitled to enjoy the long duration of life in heavenly planets.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Prabhu, as we were reading today, the purpose of having family in Vaikuntha or Goloka is just to please the lordships with the service. Is that right, Prabhu?
Welcome back. Nice to hear you back. Sorry, I couldn't join yesterday. I don't know if you were there yesterday or not, but yesterday I was out, so I couldn't join.
Mataji joined yesterday too, Prabhu.
Sorry?
Yesterday too, Mataji joined and she answered some questions with Vijay Prabhu.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking, I'm just sitting down, lying down and listening. So I think Bhagavatam is very good. Very refreshing. Yeah.
Nice, Madhu. Yes, so go ahead, Madhu, what you're saying.
So Prabhu, I was having a question. Like we just read about Vaikuntha and Goloka, they have families, right? They go in the aeroplanes and things like that. They don't do sense gratification. So the purpose of the family in Goloka Vrindavan or in Vaikuntha is to just serve Krishna, right?
Yes, that's right.
So all the gopis are also married in some sense, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Do we have family in Vaikuntha, Prabhu?
Yes. There are generally no brahmacharis or sannyasis in the spiritual world.
So does it mean that there is a varnashrama in there, or only one ashrama is there, grahastha ashrama?
Varnashrama is for the material world. It's infrastructure for helping living entities to perfect their life by going back home, back to God. So it's like a framework where a person can practice Krishna consciousness most efficiently. But in the spiritual world, everybody is devotee. They don't do anything other than devotional service. So, and whatever they do naturally is actually varnashram. There is no division of varnashram because everyone is having the perfection, the topmost perfection of varnashram. which is that they are pure devotees of the Lord. So Varnashram is mainly required to uplift the living entities from the lower stratus to become devotees.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, follow up to that means all species are there. Means as we are reading this, all Pashu, Pakshi means all animals, birds are there. So all species are there.
Yes, all created, and they serve the Lord in their own capacity. They are fully satisfied, but they are not limited to that one form. You know, if the Lord wants them, they can actually take any other form. They are full with all the mystic siddhis.
Oh, so means 84 species there are in Golok Vrindavan also.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Magnanimous Prabhu, you can ask your question.
Thank you, Abhijit. Prabhu, I have a question. You might have answered before, but I don't remember. In Brhad Bhagavatamrta, the third volume, there's a pastime of Kaliya, where the Raslila is performed on Kaliya's hoods, that particular pastime. So is that in the spiritual world too, or is it somewhere in the other plans? Could you tell me? Help me to understand.
Actually, I don't recollect whether this is there in spiritual world, because that comes in the second volume, the second part of Brhad Bhagavatamrta, where all the pastimes of the Lord are described. So I don't recollect whether it is in Golok Vrindavan or it's in Bhauma Vrindavan.
Because I know you are seeing one of the previous recordings, the Q&A session, and you said that there are no demons in spiritual world. So I was wondering, if it's spiritual world, then how is Kaliya there in spiritual world? I just want to understand that part.
No, it is in the spiritual world, because after this
Gopakumar.
he goes there, and then all this pastime happens.
So, but then how is, because you said there's no demon in spiritual world, then how is Kaliya in the pastime in spiritual world?
Because even Kaliya is also a devotee of the Lord. Of course, here in the material world, we see the Kaliya acting inimically or envious, but Kaliya is also a devotee of the Lord, because he received the dust from the feet of the Lord, and that's not possible for anyone or everyone to attain that fortune. So Kaliya is no doubt, undoubtedly a Vaishnava.
Okay, then if you receive dust from the lotus feet of the Lord, then Shatakatsura also got kicked by the Lord. He must also receive dust feet, lotus feet. So I'm just trying to understand.
Anyone who receives,
people say Asura, not present the spiritual.
Yeah, anyone who receives the dust from the feet of the Lord, comes in contact with the Lord, is actually fortunate. It's not the ordinary piety which brings a person in contact with the Supreme Lord. So all the demons who actually were killed by Krishna, they were not ordinary mortals or ordinary living entities. They are extraordinarily, blessed in one way.
Okay, so they have, of course, they got liberated, but then they would have some spiritual form, but they would have a demon, or that Kali has a spiritual form?
As far as I remember, yes. In fact, though we hear that in general there are no demons in the spiritual world, but the second part of the Brhad Bhagavatamrta explains, whenever Krishna desires, there is appearance of demons, but they don't stay there. The appearance of demons is there temporarily, sometime in Golok Vrindavan.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
I think this will be actually more clear. I don't recollect now, it ran long time ago, but it will be more clear when we read the second part.
Sure, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Prabhu, do you remember something?
Yeah, so I remember, like, they more or less act just for the pastime of the Lord. They are not real demons or
They
something.
appear, and as far as I remember, it says they appear for the pleasure of the Lord, and then they leave that place. They don't remain there eternally.
Okay, Prabhuji, sure. Thanks so much, Prabhuji.
If I find any commentary, I'll post in the group.
I think it's there, and definitely in the second part of the when Gokumar and one goes to the spiritual world, there is. I remember reading description that Akrura comes again and again to pick up Krishna and takes him to
Right.
to Mathura, and also there the appearance of sometimes demons. Though there are no demons pastime, but sometimes there are. When Krishna desires, there are pastimes of the demons as well.
Okay. Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I'm sorry, I'm disturbing you. Can I type the question now, Prabhuji?
Yeah. Mataji, there are other devotees in the queue. Is it
Oh,
fine?
okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. I will type my question. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Shirisha Mataji, you can ask your question.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam.
Prabhuji.
We read in Chaitanya Charitamrita like about the branches of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, branches of so many devotees and their names. And we read that so many devotees are Gopas and Manjaris. They are describing like in Gauragana, it is described like this. I'm thinking, Prabhuji, they are all come from spiritual world to assist Mahaprabhu, and how their families and descendants are, Prabhu. Still now also we heard so many descendants are there, but they are not devotees like that. So how they get such devotees get a regular people, regular souls, family members like that. And I want to know more like if in Krishna's pastimes also, if Krishna left, all the Edu dynasty also left, but in Gaur Lila, if Mahaprabhu left, but still the descendants are continuing. How can you give me some understanding of this, Prabhu?
Actually, technically speaking, every living entity is part of Krishna. So it's not that any living entity is ordinary living entity. Living entity, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in Harinam Chintamani, there are only two substantial things in this material world. Everything else is actually of no substance. Only two things that have substance. One holy name of Krishna, other living entities. Only these two things have substance. So every living entity is actually special. Though even covered by the modes of material nature and complete forgetfulness of Krishna, still the living entity is actually very special. And as far as the families are concerned in this world, they are all temporary relationships. It's not really something glorious. The family relationships in this material world are only temporary and illusory. So doesn't matter who takes birth. Even what to speak of descendants. When Advaita Acharya was there, 3 sons of Advaita Acharya were impersonalists. And even Bhagwan Acharya's brother, Gopal Acharya, he was an impersonalist. Even Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's brother, he was an impersonalist. So it is nothing really surprising. Even Prahlad Maharaj was born in the family of Hiranyakashipu. So devotees being born in the family of non-devotees, or non-devotees being born in the family of devotees, is not really amazing. It's not surprising at all.
So we need to see only individuals then. When we compare like Krishna's mother, father, they are all eternal. But if we see the devotees' families, they are not like eternal. We need to see like that, Prabhuji.
Yes, family relationships are only temporary and illusory as well. Bhagavatam gives so many examples in this regard. But just to quote one or two, it's just like in an eating place, in a restaurant. Many people come together and eat together, and after a while they leave, they disperse, right? So similarly, family is nothing but a restaurant where many different living entities come together, eat together, spend some time together, and then leave, never to see each other again. So yes, in this lifetime, I have my parents, I have my brothers, sisters, I have my wife, children, and all the relatives, but it's only temporary. Once I leave this body or they leave the body, there's practically no possibility that we will see each other again.
Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Coming, Prana Gopika Mataji, you can ask your question.
Hare Krishna. This is actually Prana Gopika Mataji's son, Abhijit. I was the person who had the question. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. So there's been a regulation which we've been following for like as long as I can remember from like a little boy. So we don't cut our hair or nails on certain days of the week, and from as far as I can tell from what my parents have told me, it's basically that if we cut our hair and nails on these certain days, it's considered inauspicious. And I was wondering if you could give more insight onto this topic. So, yeah.
Well, in our Vedic system, actually, every tithi and every vara and every nakshatra has its significance. Like some nakshatras are conducive for certain kind of activities. For example, if you want to do plantation, if you want to do planting some seeds, if you want the best results, then you have to choose certain nakshatra when the moon is situated in certain constellation. If you plant on those days, the harvest or the result is excellent. Why? Because moon is the one who controls or nourishes all the trees and creepers and plants. So if you choose a nakshatra which is very conducive for the plantation or sowing any seeds, or even what you call initiating harvest, then you get the best results. But if you choose a inappropriate nakshatra or wrong nakshatra, so even though you may put the same effort and endeavor, the result will not be the same. So in Vedic culture, they used to use the tithi, nakshatra, and vara, to perform any significant activity in their life. For example, even if you want to put new clothing, when we put the new clothes, there are certain nakshatras which are highly detrimental. If a person uses certain nakshatra to wear new clothes and keeps wearing for, say, for a year or two on the same nakshatra, which is actually highly detrimental, it can even cause the untimely death of the person. I mean, just to give you an example, when deliberately you try to disregard, you have consequences. I've seen, in some family, and the person knew that if we wear the clothings on such and such nakshatra, there will be trouble from the rats. They, in US, we won't have trouble from the rats. So they neglected. And after knowing they neglected, and though in US, they had such a bad trouble from the rats in their home, lot of rats, not just one or two, but a lot of rats. So it works. It actually the science, perfect science, which works. So similarly, when we cut the nails or cut the hair, these are the activities when we are using some sharp instruments to do some activity. So there are nakshatras or var or tithis, which are conducive for that purpose. Now, it's not that we want to paralyze. It's not that we start analyzing for even should I shave today or not. No, in general, there are some guidelines. Like, we say in Ekadashi, we should not be shaving or cutting nails. Similarly, on Thursdays, it is said that, one should not cut nails or we discussed in the morning also today that why we should not be, doing such activities on Thursdays or Ekadashi days. So the whole idea is when you're cutting the nails, when you're cutting the hair, you're using some, sharp weapons. You're, utilizing certain sharp, weapons to cut the different say portions of the body which are actually clippable or cuttable. So that is the activity of what do you call of destructive nature. So if you use that nakshatra or special constellation to do that activity, then you don't get any adverse result of that. But if you do it on a certain especially like we're discussing in the morning, we heard that Prabhupada never used to travel on Thursday, but Prabhupada would avoid a lot of things on Thursdays if the people would have observed it, because I don't know, in our families used to observe that. So say Thursday we are not even supposed to mop the floor in the home, because when you mop the floor you kill some, if there are some ants or some insects, they die. When you're doing a vacuum in the home or mopping the floor, you even invariably happen to kill certain living entities. And Thursday is considered day of Guru. So you blessings of Guru or spiritual master comes. When you engage on that day, more and more spiritual activities. So, but if you engage in the activities like even if you're washing clothes or doing certain activities which actually are kind of destructive, you are destroying the diseases or germs. So those are not to be done on Thursdays, especially on Ekadashi days, because Ekadashi and Thursdays you are supposed to be engaging more and more spiritual activities. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much for the answer. I've been looking for a pretty long time. Is it possible to give any Shastric evidence or?
Oh yes. I mean, I have made a whole chart on nakshatras, especially what are the consequences of doing certain activities on, which is actually from different Puranas.
Yeah.
So maybe I can share that if you want. You can text me the email. I'll share with you.
Okay. Should I just send it in the chat?
No.
Yeah, send in the chat. Not in the chat actually. Just send in the WhatsApp group.
Okay.
Or send me a personal message on WhatsApp, so then I can send you the details.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
So Prabhuji, is it okay?
Mataji, continue.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Is it okay to ask the following question?
Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
So Prabhuji, actually, especially in the month of Margasira, we don't do all this mopping or washing clothes, all those things. We don't do, Prabhuji. And all these days, Abhijit is asking me, Amma, is there a Shastric reference to this? So he's bothering me so many times, about all these things, Prabhuji. So I told him I'm not the right person to answer you. So daily they are looking at us, observing. We are attending the calls now, Prabhuji. Even my younger one also, he's also having so many questions, and he's also asking me. So they are also we all are at same place only because no one is going out and no classes, right? So I told him, please ask Shankarananda Prabhuji only.
It's not really about this, Mataji, because I remember even I had that same nature in childhood. I wanted to know what we are doing and why we are doing. So it's actually a good thing.
Yes. Yeah, actually, so far I know is it is not auspicious. That's all I know. So thank you so much, Prabhuji, for this detailed answer.
Prabhuji, I have a follow-up question, Prabhuji. Same. Prabhuji, Tuesdays and Fridays are not, cutting the nails Tuesdays and Fridays they don't do. But I don't, I don't know that one. Can you correct me?
Prabhuji, I was going to ask the same thing because in our families also, we don't cut on Tuesday and Friday.
Yeah. So that I was getting doubt on Thursdays because Thursdays we generally I don't do mops in Tuesdays and Fridays, but Thursdays I will do it. But this I'm getting a question of getting the doubt.
Okay, Mataji. So this is related to actually the different family traditions. No, so in the families where they have significant or important certain aspects of worship of certain demigods, then they will strictly follow those rules and regulations. In general, for a spiritual life, to advance in Krishna consciousness, Ekadashi and Dwadashi, Ekadashi, Dwadashi, and Thursday, these are considered the days which one should actually follow these rules and regulations. Now you see, for example, people who are more in pravritti marga, they generally try to follow the vrata on Fridays, because Friday is the var of Shukracharya. So Shukracharya mainly promotes sense enjoyment. So people who are actually in the family tradition, they have been worshipping Shukra, or the warriors, Kshatriyas especially, they used to follow the Mangal. Mangal or Shukra is also considered the day of Mother Durga. So Mother Durga is the one who blesses all the Kshatriyas. See, Kshatriyas generally used to worship Durga or Katyayani or Lord Shiva. Like you see, even in Krishna Bhagavad we read Rukmini Devi. She went to the temple of Mother Parvati and Rudrani and Rudra, Lord Shiva and Mother Parvati's temple. So Kshatriyas used to worship, to attain the favors from the demigods like Lord Shiva and Mother Parvati. So depending on the family traditions, what traditions or what forms of spirituality they've been following, people who worship or follow the certain rules and regulations from the scriptures. In fact, you'll find the significance, especially in, I remember whether it was Brahma Vaivat Purana or Brahma Purana, one of the two Puranas I remember reading practically every tithi. There are 13 and 7 varas. Every tithi and every vara, there is some vrata you can do. So people used to choose what is their priority in life, and then they would actually follow those vratas. So in our Krishna consciousness, since we want mainly blessings of Guru and Krishna, therefore we follow those vratas. I remember in childhood, I used to follow every Monday vrata. We used to do vrata fasting on Mondays, but I don't do anything anymore on Mondays, because Monday is the day of Lord Shiva. So this probably explains, why some people follow the vratas on different days.
Friday is also treated as a day of Lakshmi Devi also, Prabhu. So maybe they believe that if you sweep the floor or maybe cut the nails, and that is the day when Lakshmi Devi comes into your home, like that, something like that.
Okay, could be, yeah. So depending on the family traditions, people may follow different vratas.
So, Prabhuji, generally scientifically, scientific reason, there is any scientifically, we should not cut the nails or any, not only in the Krishna consciousness, generally scientific, which days we should not do it, Prabhuji, scientifically, just.
That's what Mataji said, depending on the priorities, family, one may follow the family traditions, but after coming to Krishna consciousness, we understand that from Krishna conscious perspective, Ekadashi and Thursday are the days which we should be following.
Okay, Prabhuji. Now I will, I got it. Now I will try to do it, Prabhuji.
So this is not different with the family traditions, but in our Krishna consciousness, this is what we follow.
Prabhuji, may I ask a follow-up question?
Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Prabhuji, in one Ayurvedic seminar I attended, they said it's not good to cut your nails or hair on Sunday because it will have ill effects on your health, because it's Sunday, Surya Dev day. So is that true, Prabhuji?
Yes, Madhi, that's what I said, depends again on individual, priorities. You will find some consequences on every single day. And some benefit by following certain rules and regulation on every single day. There are a lot of vratas on every tithi and every vara. So it really depends. And I remember Hari Prabhu was telling once, when you find, say, two opposing instructions from the scriptures, okay, when you stick to following one, that, okay, I'm following this rule, and other rule may be completely opposite to that. But when you stick to one rule, you don't get the negative consequence of another rule. So say, for example, it says, one rule may say that you should not be doing certain activity on certain day. Another may say that you should be doing certain activity only on that particular day, same day that is, say, forbidden in another place. So if you're sticking to not following or performing the activity on the that day, religiously you try to follow that. Not that sometime you follow this, sometime you follow that. Just follow this one rule. You will not be liable for another rule. The another rule will not be applicable to you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. This sounds nice. Thank you very much.
Mataji, you can ask a question. This is your last question.
Okay, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dhanavad Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Prabhuji, is there any difference between the conjugal pastimes and the magnanimous pastimes? I did not remember where I have read it, Prabhuji. I forgot. But it is mentioned that magnanimous pastimes cannot be conjugal pastimes or something like that. Can you please explain?
Yes, Mataji. Conjugal pastimes of Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan. Pastime, they are called conjugal pastime, and Lord Chaitanya's pastime are called magnanimous pastimes. So mixing the two becomes rasabhas. Lord Chaitanya never performs rasa lila, though he's non-different from Lord Shyam Sundar Krishna, but he doesn't perform rasa lila. He's in the mood of a devotee. In the mood of a devotee, he is very magnanimous, giving the mercy to one and all. There is no question of mixing the two rasas.
Yeah, very nice, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
So it's 9:30. Stop it.
9:30. So we can stop here maybe.
Sure.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.